pull that out?
Well, first, I thought, I think the players tonight on both sides played a tremendous football game. Colorado State is a very good team, very well coached. It wasn't lip service like everybody thought. You guys saw it tonight. Every player on the field tonight played hard. Our guys played hard enough, and when it counted, especially in the second half, they played harder, and they found a way to win. And, I'm sure early in the game, nobody thought that was going to happen. So, it's one of those kind of a gut check for our team to see what we're really about. If the stuff that we talk about and all the things that every coach and team always says is really going to show up. And what they did in the second half, they competed one play at a time. They just competed. And I don't think that we competed as well in the first half. And not everybody, but we didn't do it well enough. And so the second half, our guys came out, they competed, and they did it one play at a time. And then all of a sudden, momentum started to change. The fourth quarter, then we didn't have that drive that scored, and everybody could have flinched on that one. They didn't. Coaches didn't flinch. We got the onside kick this year. All right. So a lot of practice on that. And you know what? Part of that is a credit to Colorado State. We learned something from it. So there's a reason why we're better at it, or at least we were tonight. Let me just say that. Because you play a team like Colorado State and you learn from that. And, like we said before, there's disappointments in there, but you learn from it. And like tonight from the Washington State game, we got into an overtime. All right, we've been there before, and our guys were able to find a way to finish. Overall, it's one of those at the end of the game with the turnover, how it ends like that, and we had 3 other opportunities on defense for turnovers, 2 that would have been touchdowns. And we end the game the way that we did with the defense on the field, with the turnover after we scored. Yeah, it's a little bit, right there, it just stopped after this game that the momentum had changed. All of a sudden it's over. I think everybody's a little bit like, it's over. And we did win, and we came back, and you heard all the players say it. You got to believe. And those guys, they're playing in the game. We can sit there as coaches and fans and decide that the game's over, or we should have, would have, could have, and they're still out there battling. And then little by little they chipped away, and all of a sudden we're in the game at the end there, and we're tying it up, and we win the game.
Down 14 with 2.5 minutes left, whatever it is, knowing you have to go, the length of the field, somehow get the ball back and score again. I mean, what was kind of the thought there going into that drive, and I get just kind of it all played out there to get it to overtime?
What you said. I mean, really, it's really matter of fact. At that point, there's not a whole lot of different ways to attack a situation like that. It's really matter of fact. We got to score and get the ball back. There was a little bit of talk of, we could use our 2 timeouts. We had to use the timeout in that drive, and maybe we would have kicked it deep because we would have felt like our defense could have played. But at that point, they were doing well on the offensive side. It was like we need to get the ball, and if we're going to have a shot, let's get the ball. We've been working on it, and we got it back, and we were able to find a way to go down there and score, and that's what we did. So. Really proud of our guys in those moments. That's probably one of the things that you don't recognize is to kind of really understand the emotion and some of the pressure maybe that people would feel normally in those situations, and guys were just ready to go execute, and they did it. And not where they're hesitating either. They were really attacking. We did a good job. I thought Coach Hill did a great job calling plays and keeping them off balance and putting our guys and our best players in position to help us win the game at the end.
Madison, what impressed you most about him? And you want that guy to be your workhorse, and he certainly was.
Well, he did it, yes, and I'll say this first. I know that he ran the ball really well. I know the O-line did a really good job too, and the tight ends blocking for him. So, let's start there. That's the tip of the spear. Those guys, we kind of go as they go. And Alexander tonight, he ran extremely hard. We talk about fast and physical with the O-line. We talk about violent runners at tailback, and I thought those guys did that. And I thought he was physical tonight. They were hitting him, and he was out of the game, in the game, out of the game, in the game. And that's sometimes that's how the games go when you're playing that position. It's that physical, but he would pop up, run back off, get himself back in the game. And so I thought tonight, overall of what he showed, with his skill and his abilities and all that, he showed tremendous toughness, which, in my opinion, was a key ingredient to the success of our entire team. Keeps getting down and keeps coming up, getting back up. You know, he's down on the ground, he's getting up. He's down on the ground, he's getting up. And that happened to a lot of our guys tonight, and they just kept fighting. And I know we got a bunch of guys banged up right now, but they weren't coming out of that game. And to me, that's the sign of toughness on a football team, that this time of year you have to win those games.
Harsin, you look at, I know you won a lot of games here, and some big games in the process too, but after the game, Leighton Vanders is like crying on the football field. I mean, like the emotions of the night, obviously catching up with some of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And, just kind of curious, how will you remember this one? How will this one be unique?
Well, I mean, it's going to be unforgettable from the standpoint that what our guys overcame. I always look at it from that standpoint. We came into a really tough environment, against an energized team. We talked about matching their intensity. I knew they'd be ready to play, and we didn't necessarily do that, but we did later. And that's really, as far as how I think of the game and the coaches, what they did to figure that out and to have those answers in the second half, that's the most memorable. As far as the players, I think anytime you've been in the game, or whatever sporting event or whatever you're competing at, and you do something and you've accomplished something, that you pushed yourself beyond some limits that you probably haven't gone before, and you found a way. And I think some of that emotion is not just about the win. Some of it is you've kind of hit another part of your development that you didn't know you had. And part of that's emotional. I think when you do that, and I think every athlete, when they reach that point of they kind of went past and beyond what they thought they were capable of doing, and they do it, and they realize that they're capable of doing it, that's an emotional thing. And our guys did that tonight. I thought, there were some things out there, you play in a game like that and you get yourself back in, there's a lot of emotion that goes into it. So, that's a natural thing. I mean, I feel that way after the game too, because you're just proud, and you overcame some things that you always talk about, but you didn't know if you were able to actually get it done, and you followed that process, and you did.
You mentioned, the turnover there to end it, but with the defense was struggling first half, 5 straight drives they scored to start the game, and for them to give up 50 points or whatever, maybe not have the best night, but to take the field there knowing a stop will win the game for them, to get it done there, I mean, how kind of fitting was that?
It was fitting because, they had the opportunities before. Just sometimes that, we had the pick for a touchdown, then we have the late hit, we have another almost pick for a touchdown, and, that's part of the game. And you're not always going to have one side of the ball just go out there and have consistently stellar performances and all that. No, they did a good job. They came up when they needed to. That's the sign of, you have 3 phases, and if one phase isn't doing well, then the other 2 have to pick up the slack a little bit, and then eventually that phase is going to come around, which the defense did. How do we end the game with the turnover? I mean, that was it. They had an opportunity to tie that game up. We might be in a double overtime, and they finished the game. So, whatever it takes, I don't care if we win by 25 or win by 5, it doesn't matter. Those guys went out there and got the job done. So we'll clean those things up. There's plenty of things on this whole entire team that we got to get better at, and that's part of, finishing out the season and hopefully focusing on just that and staying away from all the other noise. And no offense, but that's really the biggest challenge right now, is just how do we stay locked into what we need to do to just finish.
I know with sports, like, you got to go out and you got to earn it. Nobody necessarily deserves anything, but at the same time, how much did Brett Rippon deserve the way this game finished? I mean, we all know about the way the first half of the season went. He throws a pick, looks like the game might be over, and he had to be near perfect, and he was near perfect the rest of the way.
Well, he earned it. Yeah, deserving. Nobody's deserving till the end of the year. I'll just say that. So I'm not gonna go there. What did he do? He overcame some adversity, which is really hard to do. In a game like this, when you have the momentum and all of a sudden you give it back with a turnover, all right, you can fold. And then it's just like, hey, I don't want to be a part of this any longer. And some guys do that. Or give me the ball back, let me go back down there and give me another opportunity, and I'm going to make it right. And some guys do that too. That's the difference to me in moments and opportunities like that where guys excel or they don't. And he did tonight. So he earned it. I'm proud as hell of him and our team. At the same time, you know what, deserving right now, it's, you know, when it's all said and done, that's not really what it's about. It's about the bigger picture. It's about our team and what we're trying to finish and accomplish and what we set out to do a long time ago.